and welcome to episode 28 of Book Writing Tips, Quick Tips for New and Seasoned Authors, and I am your host, Alba Arango. In today's episode, since this is the first Wednesday of November, I think it's the perfect time to talk about Novel November, formerly known as NaNoWriMo. And I want to talk about what it is, and I want to give you some suggestions if you are thinking of doing it or have already started doing it. So with no further ado, let's talk Novel November. Alrighty then. Today's episode will be in two parts as always. In part one, I'm going to talk about what is this whole Novel November thing. And I want to talk about different ways that you can adapt it to be personalized for you. And then in part two, I'm going to give suggestions if you've decided to do it, some things that I think are kind of important if you want to navigate this kind of crazy Novel November month. So let's do it. Let's get right down to it. First of all, what is Novel November? Many years ago, it started off as something called National Novel Writing Month, or NaNoWriMo. But this year, NaNoWriMo kind of shut down for reasons that are kind of weird, and you can look them up if you want to. And everyone was kind of like, well, what's going to happen now? What's going to happen this November? And I've seen many different ways to refer to this Novel November thing. But the one that I think that is kind of stuck, that I think will actually be the one that takes the place of NaNoWriMo, is Novel November. And Pro Writing Aid, which is an amazing writing tool like Scrivener, it kind of has actually adopted the whole Novel November thing and is running things kind of the same way NaNoWriMo did. So if you are an author who has participated in NaNoWriMo in the past and you're kind of looking at where to kind of get the same kind of encouragement and feel and the whole thing of NaNoWriMo, then check out Pro Writing Aid. It is free to sign up, and they have the Novel November thing, and you can go there and kind of take a look at it, and you can sign up for it if you want. I actually just did this yesterday, so I am actually going to be new to the whole Pro Writing Aid Novel November month as well. But let's talk about what is Novel November. So the challenge, and believe me, it is a challenge, is to write 50,000 words in 30 days, or the month of November. That comes out to 1,667 words per day, every single day for 30 days. And that is a lot of words. But if you get the challenge done, if you complete Novel November, you will have 50,000 words of your novel done. For most of you, that's more than half of your book. I mean, unless you write like fantasy, then yeah, maybe it's like half of your book or almost half of your book. But that's a lot of words to get done for your book in just 30 days. So it's amazing. And if you write children's books like I do, then 30,000 words or 35,000 words is actually the length of my books. So I have completed 5 of my books during the month of November. And I am currently working on one this November. So hopefully I get the book done this November and then I'll be able to publish it next year. But that is the great thing of this whole Novel November thing, is that it really pushes you to get that book done. Get it started, work on it every day for 30 days and commit. And it's fantastic. You can get so much done. So that is what this Novel November is. However, I do understand it is very challenging. Writing 1,667 words is maybe easy for you to do once in a while, but having to do it every single day for 30 days, and then what if you miss a day? Well, now you're 1,667 words behind. That means to catch up, you have to write an additional 1,667 words over the next few days. And then if you miss another day, you get behind again. And so it is incredibly challenging. And I know the first 2 times I completed NaNoWriMo, I was actually teaching full time. And that was a challenge. So I get it if it's really hard. If you're thinking there's just no way. There's no way I'm going to do it because there's no way I could get that many words done every day for 30 days. Well, let me tell you, that is the challenge. That doesn't have to be your challenge. You can adapt this to be whatever you want it to be, whatever kind of a challenge works for you. Probably the most common alternate for this that I have seen is a lot of people will say, well, 50,000, I just don't think I could do it. But 30,000, that's a little bit more doable. That's 1,000 words a day. So if you miss a day, it's only 1,000 words that you have to catch up. But even 30,000 words is quite a lot of words to get done in 1 month working on your book. So if you're working full time and you have kids and you have to help them with homework, then maybe that goal is a little bit more doable for you. And that can be your challenge. That's what I mean. You can adapt it to be whatever you need it to be. And if even that is too much, maybe for you, writing 500 words a day is already challenging enough. Like you can hardly ever even do that 3 or 4 days in a row. Then maybe that can be your challenge. Write 500 words a day. Get 15,000 words done in the month of November. Now, the only caution I have for any of these adaptations is this. Make sure it is a challenge. Don't do something that you know is going to be easy enough that you can do because you do it most of the time anyways, because then it's not a challenge. The point of this is to challenge yourself. That's what I'm saying. If you normally can't write 500 words every day because that's really hard to, fit it in, then that can be your challenge. So don't make it something that's so outrageous that you can't do, like 50,000 words a month. Make it something that isn't out of your reach, but is still a challenge, because that's what you want this to be, a challenge. So that is my cautionary tale of making the word count a little too low, but do it. It is really something I think every author should at least try at least once. And again, this is just a challenge that we are making in the month of November, but you can do it any month you want. If you can't do it in the month of November, don't do it in the month of November. Do it in the month of July or do it in the month of April. Whatever month you think would be easier for you, do it then. So, whatever month you decide to do it, and if you're joining us this month in Novel November, then let's going to move on to part 2 and talk about some suggestions. But before I do that, it's time for your crazy law / writing prompt. If you're new to the show, every week I give you a crazy law. And this is a law that was, once upon a time, a real law in history. And the challenge is for you to write a short story based on that law. And this is just something to kind of flex your writing muscles so that you have, something that maybe can get you away from your work in progress, just something kind of fun and different for you to write that kind of distracts you from your WIP, work in progress. So here we go. Here is this week's writing prompt. Virginia state law forbids bathtubs in the house. Tubs must be kept in the yard. Yes, once upon a time, that was a real law. So there you go. Have fun with it. Now let's move on to part 2 and some suggestions I want to give you if you are thinking of doing this Novel November thing. Number 1, and this is probably the most important suggestion I can give you, that is commit. You have to commit to doing this. And I have seen so many authors. Yeah, they're all enthusiastic about it at, November 1st. Yeah, I'm going to do this. And then by November 6th or 7th, they're like starting to wane. Yeah, I missed a day or two. And then suddenly it's like, yeah, I've already missed like 4 or 5 days. There's no way I'll catch up. I'm done. That's not commitment. That is one of those fleeting things that sounded like a good idea. And then, time passes and blah, 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 blah. If you want to do this, you have to commit, and only you know what you need to do to get yourself to commit to this. So things I have seen authors do to be committed is write it in your calendar every single day. And if more specific, if you can say a time, if you can designate a time each day that you are going to give to writing for this Novel November, that might be even more ideal for you. So let's say you've committed that every night from 9:30 to 10:30, you are writing in this book, and put it in your calendar and commit to that every single night. For those of you who are planners, this is probably the ideal thing for you to do, to commit to it. Now, I am not a planner, so that kind of stuff doesn't work for me. I don't like the constrictions of having a designated time, but I do like having the commitment of writing 1,667 words every day. I just don't do it at the same time every single day. For me personally, that's how I do it. That's why I'm saying if you're a planner, you might like the idea of a calendar with a time. Another way, reward yourself. Let's say every time you complete that 1,667 words, so if you're going to do it every day, reward yourself. And it could be anything like, hey, if you did it today, you get to have a glass of wine with dinner, or you get to have a dessert today. And if you don't do it, you don't get to have it. So it's almost like, oh no, I'm going to punish myself if I don't do it. Well, no, you're rewarding yourself from having completed it. So pick something that you really, really want and make sure you commit though. And if you don't do it, don't treat yourself to it. You better hold off on that glass of wine or that extra dessert. So you could also do every 10,000 words. When you hit 10,000 words, you treat yourself. And if you're supposed to hit that 10,000 words in like day, let's say you're doing a 30,000 word for the month of November challenge, then on day 10, if you haven't completed those 10,000 words, you don't get to treat yourself. But if you did, take yourself after dinner, or, make your favorite dessert, or do something where you reward yourself. So you're like working towards a reward. Yes, I know all of my rewards have something to do with food. That's just because that's the way I operate. But you can do whatever it is you want, or maybe even have like a big reward at the end. Like, okay, if I make this, if I actually do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy that new TV, or I'm going to buy that new stereo. I'm going to buy stereo. Do people even buy stereos anymore? But whatever it is, if you want to make it a big thing, that's what you're working towards. That might be what motivates you to get that done. There's also, and I have seen authors do this would not work for me either, but that is to have someone hold you accountable. Like literally someone that asks you every day, have you done it? Did you do it? And have them kind of pressure you to do it. That does not work for me. I don't like that, but I have known authors who do that. They have their spouse like pressure them, like, have you done it? Have you done it? You told me that I need to like keep harassing you until you do it. And that might work for you. Whatever it is, you know what works best for you. But you have got to be the one who commits. You have to commit to the whole 30 days if you want to get this challenge done. All right, another suggestion, and I learned this one the hard way, and that is no editing. And I know every author out there is like cringing that I just said that. What? What do you mean no editing? I have to edit what I wrote yesterday. Okay, and I get that feeling, but let me just give you from my personal experience, especially if you are limited on time. Editing takes time. So if you wrote 1,667 words yesterday and that was, 5 pages, and you go back and you start changing stuff around and re-editing and changing words around, and it takes you half an hour to edit that is a half hour you should have spent writing. Because now you have a half hour of your time done and you've written 0 words. So my suggestion would be absolutely no editing. But if you feel like you just can't do that, then I'm talking minimal editing. Go back, reread what you wrote yesterday just to get you back into the groove of what you want to keep writing today, but minor editing, like changing, grammar or something like that, but don't go back and start changing things. And let me just tell you, this does work, the whole no editing thing. I mean, one of the books I wrote during NaNoWriMo, I literally changed the antagonist in the middle of writing from being British to being French, which means I had to completely change like his speaking, like, mademoiselle instead of lass, and just all kinds of stuff. So I get it. I get the urge to go back and take the time to, make the changes. But if you can, don't do it. Just keep plowing forward, because that's how you get through 50,000 words. All right. Number 3. Get ahead of the game if you can. If you can write 2,000 words, write 2,000 words today. That doesn't mean you get to slack off tomorrow. It means you keep going forward with your 1,667 word goal. And if you can write 2,000 words each day, like 5 days in a row, well, you're like, 1,000 words up. And that's important. I call that, like saving up for a rainy day, because what's going to happen in the next 30 days? You might get sick. Your child might get sick. Thanksgiving's going to show up. What are you going to do on Thanksgiving if you don't have any words saved up? I mean, you may be busy the whole day cooking and family, and you've got to plan that this is stuff, happens. All right. Stuff happens. And so if you have those words like saved up for a rainy day, and then you miss a day like November 14th, that's okay. That's okay. You've got those words. So you're not that far behind. You might not even be behind at all. So my suggestion is, if you can get ahead early, get ahead if you can. Write an extra 100 or 200 words every day the first, 10, 15 days, and then you're good. You're good. You got a little bit of a cushion there. All right. One last suggestion I'm going to give you, and that is, this is a tough challenge. Find a support group to help you through it. other like-minded authors who are also struggling with this. The first week and a half, 2 weeks, is not that bad. But when you turn that corner of November 15th, it starts to get tough. So find a network that you can. And I know Pro Writing Aid, from just what I've seen, because I haven't been on it except for one day, but it looks like they also have the same kind of support structure that NaNoWriMo did, where they have like writing events where they're all, I think they're on Zoom or something, where you can like kind of virtually like kind of connect with other writers that are doing the same thing. But social media does that too. I have seen so many authors on Threads especially that are doing NaNoWriMo, and that is a great place to connect to other writers that are doing this, and you guys can support each other. And of course, I'm on Threads doing this, and I'm on IG doing this. So if you haven't connected with me, please connect with me on Threads and IG. I'm at albarango007, and we can definitely talk Novel November. So if you've enjoyed this, please hit that like button. I really would love to see the support from you guys as well. And I do a new episode every Wednesday. So until next week, be safe, get some writing in, and I will talk to you then.